Just curious about something. You, the early morning after the election, you sent out an email to supporters saying that a victory for Obama was a victory for a peace movement. And I'm just wondering, thinking back on what's gone on since the election, for instance, he wants to keep Gates on as Secretary of War, and he wants Hillary for Secretary of State. And it seems like the whole administration is just sort of shifting to like the center-right all of a sudden. And I'm just wondering, you think the peace movement still has a victory on their hands now, or what?
Well, I think the people voted for Obama because they wanted a peace candidate. They wanted to end the war, and that's what he was campaigning on.
Right.
Now we've got to force him to fulfill his promise about ending the war in Iraq. He didn't promise to end the war in Afghanistan, and we're going to have to push him hard on that one. And we're going to have to push him for direct talks with Iran. I mean, none of this happens just by going and voting. It happens by pressure and movements, and we're going to have to build the pressure to be even stronger than it was under Bush.
And what kind of pressure are you thinking of?
Well, we're already planning mass demonstrations around the anniversary of the war. April 4th, there is going to be a mass demonstration in New York City against the war. We're going to be at the inauguration with the message, we want our troops to come home. I don't think we can hold off time in putting the pressure on. We're asking for a meeting with Obama himself as well as his transition team. We can't expect that the war in Afghanistan or Iraq is going to end unless we organize and push for it.
Okay, but he's pretty much stated his aims to keep some Blackwater mercenaries in Iraq, and to widen the war in Afghanistan. He's discussed a willingness to attack Pakistan and Iran, and like I mentioned, he wants Hillary on as Secretary of State, who's responsible for what happened in Kosovo like 8-10 years ago, and he wants to keep on Gates, one of the architects of the war in Iraq. Do you think this is a good sign for anybody at all who voted for Obama expecting any kind of change?
Well, it's certainly not a good sign for those of us in the peace movement that understand the policies of the people that he picked. Unfortunately, most Americans don't understand, which is why over 70% of Americans like the transition team, the team that he's putting together. So we've got a lot of work in educating people about the policies of the people who are now in high positions in his cabinet. And more importantly, we've got a lot of work to do to change the positions of those people in terms of what policies they have put forth in the past. I don't think we can spend our time bemoaning what Barack Obama has done. We've got to spend our time organizing for change. The American people are sick of war, sick of spending our money on war, facing an economic crisis that's more severe than we've had since the 1920s. People want our funds to be used to solve our problems here at home, and so we've got the public sentiment on our side. We've got to mobilize that sentiment to force Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Bob Gates and all the rest of them to do what we the people want. That's our job.
The Washington Sketch is reporting from Pennsylvania Avenue outside the White House, where the Iraqi shoe story is gaining new legs.
Bring it on, bring it on.